Oh, it's you. Come on in. Welcome to the Scum Bar. Welcome to the Scum Bar Podcast Marvel Movie Marathon, where we go through the 22 films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, starting with Iron Man donning his first suit and ending with Thanos and the Infinity Gauntlet. We're going to talk Iron Man, Captain America, Antonio Banderas, and everything in between. I am your host, Captain Mattbrush, and with me today is the Ghost himself.
Did you say the Okay. I got so confused. I was like, wait, I'm going to be Thanos again. And then you said the Ghost, and I'm like, wait, I was picturing what I was going to say as Thanos, and it was just going to be daughter. But it doesn't make sense.
It's going to confuse so many people.
Yeah, I can't be Ghost and say daughter. What can I say as Ghost? I'm ghosting. That's what I'm doing. Wait, did you say you said the Ghost, right?
I did say the Ghost.
You didn't say
like... the Ghost is female though, isn't it?
That's right. The Ghost is female.
Yeah.
I was rereading what you were typing, and I was wondering if you actually said, "And with me today is the Ghost," or like Thanos. And I'm like, wait, which one did he actually say?
Thanos with the most.
Thanos with the Ghost.
Who are you gonna call, Anth0z?
Thanos Busters.
There you go.
Yes, I got it.
How are you doing? Welcome to the podcast.
Thanks. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Anth0z, I'd like to give you a brief warning here.
Just me?
All right? No, well, you and everyone listening.
Do they want it, though?
Podcast,
what if they don't want it?
I don't know. They better be prepared, because here it comes.
All right.
This Scum Bar Podcast is going to contain spoilers for this movie and the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe. This movie, in fact, will be AntMan and the Wasp in 2018, starring Paul Rudd, Ebangeline Lilly, Michael Douglas, Michelle Pfeiffer, Hannah John Kamen, and Lawrence Fishburne. That's about what I remember from the cast, and that's kind of the notables, notables from this movie.
It's not Anthony, right? Anthony died?
Anthony died.
In the first
yeah, Anthony died
one.
in the first one.
He got shot. So
that's why you don't name the ants.
Yeah, it is kind of sad. Antonio Banderas is what? And then, is there a...
you in this one?
Sir Anthony Hopkins or something?
Yeah, I think that was
That's
another
probably
one. Yeah, you're
one?
right.
Yeah,
I think you're right.
I don't know what else there is.
Can you name all the ants in this film?
I definitely can't.
I can barely tell you what happens in this film. Anth0z, why don't you give us a brief sign-up summary of what happens in Ant-Man and the Wasp?
In the aftermath of Captain America Civil War, Scott Lang grapples with the consequences of his choices as both a superhero and a father. As he struggles to rebalance his home life with his responsibilities as Ant-Man, he's confronted by Hope Van Dyne and Dr. Hank Pym with an urgent new mission. Scott must once again put on the suit and learn to fight alongside the Wasp as the team works together to uncover secrets from their past.
Waspinator.
That kind of was my motivation, not so much Scott and Hope, but yeah, Waspinator.
Scorponok. Waspinator.
For the Queen. That would be... Who's that? That's the... Inferno. That's the character.
Oh, yeah.
Inferno.
I forgot about that. The Inferno.
For the Queen.
Anybody who doesn't know what we're talking about, it's Beast Wars, which is a much more interesting thing to watch than Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Oh, for sure.
Sorry.
By far.
Sorry. The barbs are out already. This
far.
is not a bad movie, but I just have a lot of things Actually, you know what? I don't even have that much to say about it. That's how milquetoast it is. It's just that. It's just sort of like... Yeah, you made a Marvel film. Good job.
It's pretty much, but it doesn't feel like a. Okay, whatever. We'll get into it.
Before we break down this movie into 3 different acts, like we do for all of our films, we'd like to do a little thing beforehand where we talk about what it was like when we saw this movie in theaters. Now, with this one, I saw this with a good friend of mine, and we both thought this movie was kind of meh. And that friend's name was Anth0z.
That's right, and you had your Ant-Man shirt on you.
I did. Yeah, my Ant-Man shirt. I was all excited, you know. was getting all ready to see Ant-Man and the Wasp. I kept thinking, there has to be more than what the trailers are showing. There has to be. And man, I was so disappointed.
No, what were even in the trailers that would have been notable?
There was a car chase. There was the Giant Man reveal.
Oh, there was the Pez, the giant Pez.
Yeah,
that's one. The slow-mo giant Pez.
Yeah.
That's like all I remember. Oh, probably. Oh, I think the building shrinking.
Yeah, the building.
Right?
It also showed Ghost ghosting through. Yeah, ghosting.
Yeah.
Yeah. All of it looked very middle of the road to me. I wasn't like super interested. I just kept thinking, okay, well, hopefully it'll tell us a little bit more about Infinity War's ending. And of course, we got nothing.
No.
Nothing until the ending credits, which I don't actually count for as being a part of the movie.
And you know what? I think when I watched that, I totally forgot that. Oh yeah, that's what happened at the end of Infinity War.
Yeah.
And I think it's because the way that the way that the dust looked, it didn't remind me exactly of how it looked when the snap actually took place.
It's a little different.
Yeah, it looks more ashy. Or no.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's more ashy. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Like they didn't dissolve the same way that the snap made.
I have some things to say about that scene, but let's break that down at the very end.
Sure.
Let's go first into Act 1. My Act 1 I called Sins of the Father.
Aha. Oh, nice.
Because it's a mirror of both fathers that make sins and all that kind of stuff, right? Scott has sins that he has, and he has to talk to his daughter about it. And obviously, Hank Pym has sins of his own that he has to talk to his daughter about.
Yeah, and they both have shins. Yeah.
Yeah, shin sins. Yeah.
Shins of the father.
You just get the symbolism of this movie, man. I don't understand how you keep up.
I'm really good at symbolism. Zing.
Oh man! Just as I took a glass of water and drank it, that was bad timing.
So right. my Act 1 is called "Come Out Wherever You Are," and so it's kind of alluding to I actually wanted to go with "I Have a Dream," but then I liked "Come Out Wherever You Are" because it just kind of resembles more about their who they're looking for, what's happening in their heads.
Right.
And the ghost is ghosting. That's
true. And the phone that's in the wall. It had to come out wherever it was.
Wait,
Scott found it.
Oh yeah, okay.
The cell phone in the wall.
That's right. Yeah.
We got a little scene here. You play Scott. I'll play Dr. Hank Pym.
Okay. Hold on. You gave her wings?
And blasters.
Wings and blasters. So I think you didn't have the tech available for me.
No, I did. I remember there's something about their chemistry that I do really like. And I think if the movie was more about Ant-Man and Ant-Man, it would be more funny, I think. And I think that's why I actually kind of like the first movie. But this movie is not that, because it's more about Ant-Man and the Wasp, which isn't horrible, but it's more fun to watch Ant-Man and Ant-Man. I like that concept better.
But is it really more about Ant-Man and the Wasp? Because I don't find it's really about Ant-Man.
I know, you're right. Ant-Man kind of gets shadowed in his own movie a lot. And that line of dialogue right there actually totally shows it.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I agree. I think if we had more, Hank and Scott Ant-Man relationship going on, or not relationship, but just interactions, I think that would be nicer to carry through for the movie and make it feel more like it's an actual Ant-Man movie as opposed to... Well, okay, I guess you could say because Dr. Hank Pym is the original Ant-Man, and he is kind of behind the motivation of the whole, what they're trying to do for the rest of the movie, right? Trying to find Janet. That, I guess that makes it an Ant-Man movie, but it's just not the Ant-Man that we're looking forward to seeing as the audience, at least I assume, if I can speak for everybody else. But that's, Scott Lang is the Ant-Man that we know of that was in the first Ant-Man and the one that was in Civil War, and so this is the one we expect to see the movie about. But from the beginning of the movie with the whole flashback thing, it really just seems like it's about two people, Dr. Hank Pym and his daughter Hope, with this pipe dream kind of thing, trying to find Dr. Hank's wife, Hope's mother. And I don't know, I think from the beginning of the movie I was thinking, this is how they're setting it up, but I'm already not interested because I'm not really that invested in each of these characters. Yeah. And so what they really care about, I'm not really invested in either.
I agree.
And so I don't know if I needed more from the previous movie or I don't know what, but it was just it began right away from a different direction.
I think something along the lines of Hank Pym being a genius and Scott Lang being the one who's physically capable to wear the suit, and them being very competitive about who's the better Ant-Man. And I think it would be great if by the end of the movie, and this could have been the first one too, but we didn't really see it there either, is that by the end of the movie, one of them is using their genius to create the tech, while the other one is using their stealth abilities to be able to use the tech that is being created, right? And then the two of them together kind of make Ant-Man. And I think that would have almost been a more fun movie to watch because you got their working together kind of stuff. Then, if that was what the first movie was like in Civil War, you actually probably would have seen both of them go to the Civil War fight. And they both probably would have helped in some way, shape, or form, which actually would have been kind of cool. It would have been another character that's like a roadie, but that would have been Hank Pym in general.
Yeah.
And,
that's kind of cool.
Because Hank Pym is supposed to be like a genius, and I'd like to see more scenes of him with like Tony Stark or like Bruce Banner or like other geniuses, and they can like have these cool conversations about tech. I think that'd be more interesting. But they go down this whole road of like, I don't know, the other characters that also want to use the tech, and it's just then you get into the jokes they make later on in this film about, do you guys just put quantum in front of everything? Because it becomes like almost a joke in itself of just how convoluted these films get.
Yeah. Actually what I would have enjoyed more is if Scott was possessed by, well, sure, but if Scott's body or whatever was taken over by Janet for like the whole movie, as opposed to maybe just a couple scenes.
That was a great scene. That was really funny.
Yeah, like I think at some point it can get kind of overdone if it's the whole movie, but if you do it right, I think it could be very tasteful. Yeah. And I think it would almost seem to make more sense because then you're also you're pulling focus onto Janet, but you're utilizing the Ant-Man, like Scott's body that.
And if he phased in and out of being her, like if he was her for some scenes and then suddenly was Scott for like 2 seconds and then back to her, you could have some really funny scenes where like Hank and her had like really romantic moments almost, and then it like switched to Scott suddenly, and then he's like, "Sorry, it's me again," and then like cuts back to her. Like I think there would have been some really good stuff there. I think.
Yeah, I can picture Scott saying something later on, like
nope, back to me,
like or after the kiss, like, should I have told him that it was me?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Anyways, let's get into the film. So we start off with a 1987 flashback showing Hank and Janet Van Dyne saving the U.S. from a Soviet nuclear missile. It is on its way to blow up, I'm assuming, all of the United States. Big old bomb.
Yep.
Actually, I think in there they talk about how it was going to kill a lot of people. I don't think they specify it was going to like destroy the country. I think it's just going to take like a town.
Hank said something like, she saved thousands.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something.
Not millions. Anyways, Janet goes subatomic. She goes between the cells. And Hank couldn't do it because his subatomicer wasn't subatomicing that day.
Because he needed a better power converter.
We're going right back to Star Wars. But I was going to go on Tashi and get power converters. Anyway, so Hank ends up believing that she is dead after she goes subatomic and never returns. She does save lives of everyone that day, though. Hooray, hooray. Good job, Janet Van Dyne. It's funny, my fiance was saying at this moment, she's like, is it bad that I wouldn't have saved the people? She's like, just because I'm a hero doesn't mean I'm gonna put my life in danger to save the people. I was like, yeah, I get it. Like, cause she's like explaining this whole scene. They're leaving their daughter behind to go save these people from a missile just because they have the powers. And I was like, yeah, I understand that. I was like, realistically, just because you're a hero doesn't mean you would always go and make that choice to go save the people.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it depends on what kind of superhero and what you have at your disposal.
Exactly.
I mean, like, if you're Superman, then sure, go ahead, have fun.
Yeah.
But they're just, they're humans in ant suits.
Yeah.
So
the way he's like, come on, honey, we gotta go. And he's like taking her out of the house, and she's like, bye, little hope, And like my fiance just kind of like, I don't know, I don't think that would be me.
No. It's also, I guess that's part of, that's more of like an, is that the right word?
Great
altruistic
power
kind
comes
of
great responsibility.
Well, I guess it is in a way, right? Because, yeah, and I guess in a way you could also argue that as a parent, you are leading by example.
Oh.
Right? I mean, you're showing,
yes.
You're showing your child what you can do for others by your sacrifices.
True.
I guess. Yeah.
After this flashback scene, we now get Scott, it's in a parallel, hanging out with his daughter in a really cute scene where him and Cassie are doing this little like stealthy thing to go and steal.
They're like in an ant maze.
Yeah, a little weird ant maze. They've got, what's his face? Oh my gosh, the character's name? Louise, who's got to move the ant arms and all that kind of stuff. And then Cassie goes to steal the micro treasure, which is Scott's trophy. Little does she know that Scott's suit is in there.
Contact. Yeah. I love the contact. Like the contact lens is just like a giant paper plate.
Yeah, paper plate. Put it down. Does the contact lens?
That's like a really good use of a paper plate.
Yeah,
and it was a really well done eye.
Yeah, I think it worked really well. They also have a nice little slide after they capture the trophy, and a slide outside of the house. I thought that was nicely done. I don't know a slide that works that well inside a house made out of cardboard, but it worked well for them, so that was fun.
I hope I can make that for my kids. It's a great maze.
Yeah, exactly. It would take a lot of time to make that. It's very intricate, but hey, it looked fun. This also serves as a purpose showing us that Scott is under house arrest because as soon as he falls down into the outside backyard, his foot breaks out of the fence, and he's got his ankle bracelet, which is outside the fence, and it shows that the alarm goes off because he's not allowed to leave the house. This is why we didn't see Scott fight Thanos, because he was on house arrest. You don't want to break the law when you're fighting Thanos.
Yeah, priorities, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, leading by example. You have to show your kid the law comes
I can't
first.
save the universe, honey, because I'm under house arrest. So Scott is greeted by Jimmy Woo, which this was shocking to me. I didn't realize while we were watching WandaVision that Jimmy Woo is a character we already knew.
Yeah, I totally forgot too. Yeah. And this is where he does some sort of magic tricks in WandaVision, doesn't he?
Oh, does he?
I can't remember.
He might, yeah.
I feel like he talks about doing magic tricks.
He probably
does. Where it kind of came up.
Well, I have to rewatch WandaVision for his scenes just to see those moments because, I didn't know he was in this movie. I was like, oh, there he is. It was a familiar face, and I was shocked to see it, but it was nice to see Jimmy Woo there. Woo explains that Hank and Hope are on the run since the last movie. They're on the run after the tech was found out in the Civil War that happened in Captain America Civil War. So after Giant Man was unveiled, it turns out that Hank and Hope still have the technology, and this is concerning to S.H.I.E.L.D., or to the cops, to the government, to anybody. Not S.H.I.E.L.D.
Everybody.
Everybody and anybody. They're all concerned about this tech. So Hank and Hope are they're like fugitives now, essentially. They don't like Scott, and Scott doesn't like them. And this is all explained to us in a giant, rambling exposition dialogue sentence from Jimmy Woo.
Yeah, it's quite a long scene of just him.
I'm surprised Paul Rudd doesn't say something like, wow, that was a lot of information, or something like that, Like,
yeah, that, I guess it's the kind of thing you would expect, but I guess maybe they just, I don't know. It is what it is. Just him having his moment, I guess.
Yeah. Quickly after this, Scott has a dream of being Janet Van Dyne, where he's chasing down little Hope, and he finds Hope in a closet, I think, or a broom.
A broom closet
or a cupboard or something.
With red horses.
Wardrobe.
Yeah. Chester George.
Yeah.
Chester wardrobe.
Chesterfield. After this dream, Scott is kind of freaked out by it because it felt really real to him, and he decides to call Hank and Hope to see if they. He just feels like he should call. He also feels like in the moment while calling that maybe it wasn't a good enough reason to call, but he calls anyways. After doing so, he is then drugged by Hope in a pretty funny scene where he's just like eating cereal and he gets zapped by a little thing on his neck. And I love how just kind of like his little reactions, like trying to figure out what is that? He's kind of twitching a little bit, like what's going on? And it just passes out.
I seem like to me it seems like one of those like kind of overdone, very caricature or character-ish kind of like movements. Like you wouldn't expect that from. Like, yeah, sure, this is like it's a movie, or it's movies based on comic book characters, and comics are originally cartoons, but I feel like Paul Rudd, like Scott in this motion, is the most comic cartoony out of the whole MCU.
Yeah.
For just some reason. And I'm okay with it, though. I think it's just like, it's funny to watch him be like that, and I think it's very suitable for just him as a character.
Yeah,
so
like, don't get me wrong, I don't find these movies to be as good as the other Marvel movies, but that doesn't mean that they're bad, and it doesn't mean the people in them are bad in any way, shape, or form. I like a lot of the acting in these movies. I do. I think it's fun, but I just find it childish, and not in a bad way. It's not supposed to be like a slap on the wrist or anything like that. It's just, it's like these movies are made for a younger audience, it seems, and I guess it's taken me a long time to fully understand that or fully accept that these movies are made for a younger audience, but by watching them now, it's like, oh, okay, you have to give these movies a different lens when you're watching them than when you're watching like Infinity War or Captain America. Yeah. Because the stakes are supposedly just as high, but they just seem like they're lower in these movies.
Yeah. And I find, I guess, kind of in conjunction with what you're saying for a younger audience, I guess I can see that coming out of the scenes where it looks like they're just trying to give you these random surprises. Like, oh, surprise, they're actually in a really small car, and this it's a giant, but not really giant pigeon. Yeah. Or, I don't know, surprise, here's a giant Pez thing, or it's like they're just trying to distract us. It's kind of, they're sort of like wow factors, but there's so many, they're not very impactful wow factors, but there's just a lot of them.
Yeah.
That I find like they're just trying to find constant fun ways to use their like the shrinking ability or enlarging abilities, but it seems to be a little bit more. It's like it's more overdone than it is creative, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do find them conceptually fun though. I mean, like watching a
They
Pixar.
are, yeah.
If I was watching a Pixar movie or watching like anime or something like that, there's like something about those worlds where it's so larger than life that it's not realistic, but you want it. You know, like in Death Note, it'd be the Death Note. In like Sword Art Online, it's the fact that you can play inside a VR world. In like, I was gonna say Toy Story, I guess maybe like the toys come to life and you kind of wish yours did. The fact when I see like Hank pull out his little like car wheel box, he's got all these little cars that he can enlarge. That is fun to me conceptually. It's fun. It's entertaining because it's like cool. Wish I had that, you know. Yeah. But seeing so much of it in a movie context, it's just okay. It's just a bunch of stuff in a movie. I guess kind of like Harry Potter. You get this feeling of like, oh, okay, I want to be a part of it, but like in this movie alone, it doesn't carry the weight of something like Harry Potter story-wise, so you don't really get invested with the characters as much. But the concepts are fun though. So
yeah, I do like the concepts. I also really like that toy, that wheel carriage, wheel briefcase thing. Like it's a funny concept. It's a cool concept visually, just to see like, oh, look at all those cars.
Yeah.
But that I think as the audience, knowing that like, okay, we know that they have these powers at their disposal, right, to enlarge and shrink stuff.
Yeah.
So when you put a little bit of focus, so like on the wheel briefcase to show all the mini cars, then audience knows like, ooh, that's cool. Like, I wonder which one he's gonna pull out. I wonder which one, like what it's gonna look like, or how they're gonna use it. And I think part of what I like about that moment or those kind of moments is it gives me a little bit more anticipation. Like I'm looking forward to something, as opposed to just like, hey, by the way, I'm doing this. Oh, by the way, we're doing this.
Right.
Like I guess like I need more of the anticipation factor to feel like I can be invested in something, as opposed to just like, oh, okay, and oh that, oh cool, okay,
right.
Like it's just just throwing things at me, and I guess it's also the way that they pull focus on stuff. Like so the giant Pez thing that I was talking about earlier, they do this whole slow-mo thing, which is, it's like they're trying to pull so much focus on, hey, this is a Pez thing. It's really small, and we made it really big, and it's going to hurt somebody on a motorcycle.
Yeah.
And I think, in terms of the anticipation factor that I was talking about earlier, I think it would have been more fun if they looked in the van and they saw like a whole bunch of like random small objects, and then instead of just like throwing the one Pez, they just threw everything out there and enlarged like a whole bunch of random stuff. And it just was more like chaotic, as opposed to just like specifically, let's throw this one thing and this is going to work. You know? So I'm just being picky maybe, but I think it would have been more fun.
No, I mean,
more engaging that way.
It's just, you have certain feelings when watching these movies, and this is just our way of getting them out, right? You kind of understand your feelings on these movies too, as we're talking about this kind of stuff. So
yeah,
I think it's totally accurate. I think it's very, very spot on.
Thanks.
So as you said earlier too, so after Hope drugs Scott, she's now driving him in a little tiny car. We see the pigeon and all that, and we realize that they're in a tiny little micro car. She drives him over to the Pym hideout, the hideaway. Over at the Pym hideout, Scott meets up with what's his face, Hank again, and they talk about the quantum tunnel, which Hank and Hope have been working on. As soon as they opened up the tunnel to look for those quantum particles, I guess. As soon as the tunnel was open, that's also coincides with when Scott had his dream. So they believe that the opening of the tunnel has done something to Scott, since he's actually been down on the quantum level already. So I don't get it. I'm not even going to pretend to understand this movie, but apparently for some reason that makes Scott have superpowers in a quantum way.
Yeah, there are a lot of things I feel in this movie that are very, very not explained.
Yeah.
And
Scott's Neo now, just because he's gone to the quantum level.
Well, yeah, I think they kind of brush over briefly, like when you're there for so long. Like they mention it when Janet comes back, right, a little bit later on, that it does things to you, but it's so vague. Like they're not really telling us anything.
It's a plot device to you.
Yes, exactly.
But yeah, so they talk with Scott a lot. There's a lot of animosity with them and Scott, but they do mention to Scott that Antimosity. Ooh. They mention to Scott that they are going
Anti-waspity? Sorry.
Oh my God.
I had a big dinner in my brain. I'm tired, so this is how it works.
I like the puns. You gotta keep them coming. However many puns we can get.
I'll try.
They mentioned that they are still going to be looking for Janet, so that's their mission. But in order to do that, they need a part. And to get this part, they have to go meet up with Sunny, who has a sunny disposition.
Yes.
Hope meets with Sunny, who is a shady kind of character in this hotel room. And they are trying to make a trade for this part. And what was Hope giving him? Money?
A stern looking down on.
I don't know.
Money. Yeah,
whatever it is,
money.
Hope needs to learn how to do negotiation better because she's very she's very hot out the gates in this meeting.
Yeah,
this other guy was like pleasant at first, but so eventually this guy turns on her. He wants to keep the money and tell her that he will keep their little secret between the two of them. And he's essentially going to blackmail her. So a fight scene ensues, which goes pretty well. We get to see Hope, and we get to see how good she is with her new Waspinator suit. As we mentioned before, she now has wings and blasters, so she's pretty much Ant-Man, but with more abilities.
With wings and blasters, yeah. She's really good. I mean, I guess we probably shouldn't have doubted that she could use the suit very, with such ease. But I guess at the same time, do we know how much time has passed since she got the suit? At the end of...
it's been at least 2 years, because it had been 2 years since Civil War for them. For the characters,
right.
So...
Okay. I mean, yeah, it's not anything we have to question.
Yeah.
She's clearly, much more versatile with the suit than Scott ever was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder why the advantage of Scott. Why is Scott even considered anymore if she is there? Unless it's just the fact that there's two people that know how to use the suit, I guess.
You know what? That is another really big thing that takes away from Ant-Man.
Yeah,
because he's no longer just impactful enough as a solo Ant-Man.
Yeah,
not nearly anymore.
It's like the Mario Dr. Mario effect, in Smash Bros. It's like one's just a clone of the other one with a few extra abilities.
Right. Yeah, and it's a bit bigger.
Yeah. So this fight scene breaks out, but Hope gets cornered by this new challenger approaches. Ghost comes onto the field, and Ghost using quantum irregularities.
I don't know.
She phases in and out. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. She is accidentally phasing, but also phasing to her. Phasing is her weakness, but also her power. So it's very strange to me.
It's very strange. Yeah, that also doesn't seem like it's explained very well because it happens when she doesn't want it to.
Yeah,
and it also happens
when she wants it to. Yeah. I understand the idea that it gets more unstable over the film, but at the same time, she's also still using the power when she wants to use it. So I don't know. Anyway, Scott and Hope fight her, and they unfortunately do not win. This is the first time they've teamed up as Ant-Man and the Wasp, and they lose as Ghost ends up stealing the part.
Yeah, they need more practice, that's all.
They do. And after this whole thing, they now realize that they need to meet up with Bill Foster, who is Hank Pym's old partner. They keep talking about how much Bill and Hank don't like each other and stuff, but they don't really get into it. And I feel like they should have done more with this, instead of just constantly saying oh, Bill, you don't like Bill. Oh, no, Bill, I don't want to go see Bill. I don't like Bill. And then, you say Bill, and Bill's all Hank, I don't like you, Hank. And then, later on, they're oh, Bill, did you see Hank? He's why would I see Hank? I don't like Hank. It's stop telling us and show us.
That's a good point. I guess, they focus. It's weird. It's almost backwards from what I think, from what could have been a little bit better. Showing us, we've been given a lot of dialogue to explain things, but they could be so much more efficient if they just showed it to us.
Show us Janet and show that Bill secretly was in love with Janet as well, or something. And then show that now Hank took Janet, and Bill has always resented him for it and is possibly jealous and maybe unfairly judges Hank because of it. Or maybe Hank... But, Hank in the comics is way more intense, and I believe he actually even beats up Janet a few times. So he's much more aggressive. Yeah. They don't have to go that far in these movies, especially in a kids' film, but they can definitely make Hank and Janet not have been great sometimes. And maybe Bill always resented that Hank wasn't the best husband for her or something, and he's trying to make up to her. Maybe even the last time he talked to her, he never got to say what he truly felt before she went into the multiverse or whatever, the whatever it's called, the quantum
realm.
Yeah. So there's so much more they could have done with this love triangle, maybe, or I don't know. There's just more there to make Bill and Hank actually have a reason to not like each other more than just the fact that Hank is apparently over obsessive or something.
Yeah, or Bill could have been Janet's brother.
Adopted, I'm assuming.
Well, sure, yeah. Yeah.
No, actually, we don't know what Janet looks like at this moment. We only know what Hope looks like.
That's true, yeah, but I mean, knowing that Hope is pretty much completely white, I think it's kind of safe to say it.
It's not like eye color. It's not like, some carry the gene. Like, it doesn't work that way.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, some dominant, some recessive. Yeah.
So they meet up with Bill Foster. Bill and Scott have some kind of conversation about being Giant Man. This is apparently a lot funnier than it seems. Like, this was in the trailer, and it was like, the whole scene was in the trailer to make it funny.
Yeah.
And then in the theaters, this is like really drawn out to be like a funny scene. And I haven't laughed at it in the trailer, in the theaters, or even now at home watching it. It's never been funny. Like...
Oh, wait, I thought you said it was funnier than it's supposed to be. So it wasn't as funny.
They must think it's funnier than it really is.
Oh, I see. Oh, okay. Right. Yeah, I don't think I laughed at all.
No,
for any of that.
I definitely understand what they're doing. I just think it's maybe the dialogue or like the way they like roundabout way of getting to the joke. It just something is off about it where it's not very comedically sound. It just doesn't have the rat-a-tat that it should have.
It could be like the delivery. It's like the amount of excitement. It kind of just seems like is that how they would be excited about this, and would they really be? I don't know.
Yeah, it's missing something. It's missing something that doesn't make it funny. I'm not saying the content's not funny. It's just something about it. Something about it needs to be better. Anyway, so there's that whole scene, and then Bill essentially tells them that if they, reconfigured the suit's quantum calculator, they can then recalibrate the things and find the lab piece that they needed. It's like a video game at this point. They're essentially just like, oh yeah, do this, and then point the beams. Oh, if we recalibrate the beams, then we can head to that sector. It's like, oh, okay. So they have to recalibrate the beams, but in order to do that, they need an old suit, which it just so happens that Scott has kept an old AntMan suit. Yes. I actually do like this. This is funny. This is really funny. When you have the high arcing character who's really like, angry, and he like specifically asks the character who's looking up to him, he says like, did you do this? And he says, no, I didn't. And then later on they come right back to it, and the answer would be if he answered that the other way around, then they would have been fine right now. But since he lied, like they're all just like, well, damn it, what do we do now? And then he has to be like, well, what if I do have this? Like I don't mind that. I thought that was pretty good. Yeah,
I also like how he just repeats the lines that he said to
him.
Yeah,
exactly. That's your greatest. That's your life's work.
Yeah. It almost seemed like, I think I didn't notice that in the theater when I first watched it. It was kind of just like a Passover line. Yeah. But then watching it this time around, I was like, oh, I see. I see. Okay.
Yeah, I thought as well. Then threw it right back at him. Yeah. So they have to go to Cassie's high school now to retrieve the trophy, which Cassie is using for show and tell, which says "World's Greatest Grandma," which is a great joke. That is, I don't know, that's such a random joke, but it's very funny. So I like it. They have to go to Cassie's school, but Scott's old suit, Scott's new suit, I guess.
This is the prototype new suit.
Yeah, the prototype new suit is not working. It's malfunctioning, so Scott is fluctuating in size. I don't mean to judge every single comedic scene here. I'm not saying this isn't funny. There's definitely some funny moments, but it overstays its welcome, I think, sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
There's some moments. There's a moment when he's walking away in the hallway, and the other guy thinks it's a little kid. And, it's borderline pretty funny. Like, there's some pretty funny moments to that idea, that concept of just walking away slowly. I think it would have been funnier if they almost caught him, though. Like, if he got really close to getting caught. Like, if the guy saw him profile, it would be really obvious he was a man, right? So I think it'd be really funny if he walked up, maybe even put like a hand on his shoulder, like, where you going, champ? And then something happened, be like, paging, Principal Weathers, and then he'd be like, oh, and then he like walks away. So I think there'd be a funnier scene there if it got really tense almost. But
or like as soon as the teacher puts his hand on his shoulder, like he instantly shrinks. And then he gets, like, the teacher's all just confused and like, oh, I'm going crazy. I'm going to check out or something.
Sure,
like
that. Yeah.
Or like, these kids are driving me crazy kind of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really was drawn out. I think as soon as he put the sweater on, I like the moment where he is just standing there in the hall.
Yeah, I like this. The imagery there is funny. Yeah.
The imagery is good. And then, like what I was talking about earlier, that the whole anticipation, like, it's just, we have stillness.
Yeah.
And now we're anticipating some sort of action, like, what is he gonna do? Is he gonna shrink? Is he gonna enlarge? Because like it'll happen by accident, or like what else happens?
Yeah.
Instead, he runs. I'm okay with he runs. I like the music that goes.
Yeah.
It's kind of
Yeah.
It's like kind of cutesy spy kind of music. It's very fitting.
Yeah.
But then when he gets into the room, and actually no, it's the run itself. I feel like already as soon as he's running, it seems like they're trying too hard to make him seem smaller. Because like I think if you look at the bagginess of the hoodie, just like the way he's running, he's purposely running so it makes it look more flat.
I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
And
it's
and
forced.
we don't. It is forced,
Yeah.
and visually it does look funny, but because it's forced, for me it takes away.
I agree.
And then when he goes up to the to like the cabinet to actually jump up and try to get the trophy, he knows he's too small.
Yeah.
Why is he jumping? Why is Hope
just,
even waiting?
I know. Why doesn't he just go to Hope, or why doesn't Hope in general just grab the trophy? You know, like
Yeah. There's a lot of too many opportunities taken.
Yes.
If you know what I mean.
And it
like,
waters down the good lines, because I actually do like later on when Hank says like, "How was school, champ?" or whatever. You know, because
that works.
That's actually a good line, but it's watered down by now because you're already like, you've just already gone through all the boy child kind of stuff. You know, like.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know. But I do like his line at the end, because it is a funny concept, picking him up from school, which is pretty much exactly the scene they're doing, so.
Yeah, and then, you want a juice box and cheese strings?
Yeah.
Do you really have that?
Yeah, see, that,
well,
it's funny, but it also waters it down, because Scott's not that dumb, you know, but like.
I think, but he is the kind of character that I can see asking that kind of thing.
I guess
like,
so.
Sure, he's not dumb, but he does have those pretty kind of like naive moments,
That's
or like
true.
gullible
That's
moments.
true.
Yeah.
So next, after Cassie School, they actually have to go to Ghost Lab now, and now that they've recalibrated the synchronizers, they can go to Ghost Lab. So they get into the lab. Ghost is in some kind of quantum stabilizer machine where she lies down and stabilizes her quantum cells. And
she's on her Casper mattress.
Yeah, exactly. And while she's there, they go to find the part, which they find, and then the camera pans across, and she has phased out of the quantum unphaser, and she fights them and attacks them and knocks them out, and immediately we see that Hope and Hank and Scott are all tied up in the chairs, and they're confronted by Ava Starr, who is Ghost. This is her true identity, not her.
She has a name,
not her made-up name. This is her real name, is Ava Starr. She reveals she has the quantum instability gene disease thing, and that she's trying to harness Janet's energy to be able to resolve her issue. She doesn't really go into it, and what's his face comes back. What's his name?
Morpheus.
Yeah, Morpheus comes back. Bill Foster, he comes back. Turns out he's kind of taking her on almost as like a surrogate daughter, and he's trying to help her out.
Kinda, yeah.
Which again, there's room here. There's room here for like some kind of reason for him to not like Hank. Maybe something Hank did. Well, kind of did actually. Something Hank and Bill did is what has ruined Ava, and he's the one picking up the pieces. But maybe if you threw it in Ava's face more, you know, if you had some kind of flashback of something directly that Hank did, not indirectly, but directly he did, that has screwed up Ava's life. Show him like firing her father, show him like abusively like insulting her father or something like that, right? And show Bill notice. Just anything. Just give us something, some other reason to have this animosity towards the two of them. And then now you've got Bill who's taking her under his wing, and he thinks he's doing the right thing to make up for Hank's mistake. So anyways,
or I guess like if Hank had, I can't. Did this happen in the movie? Like, did Bill go to Hank trying to save her before? No, right?
No,
that wasn't like. Yeah, like maybe they could have been that he approached him before, but then Hank was too focused on other stuff, didn't want to save the girl, wanted to focus on whatever else was happening, I guess, in their lives.
Yeah, to me, it makes Bill come off as weak and emotional. It doesn't come off as like he doesn't come off as a realistic character that I'm expecting. He comes off as a totally different kind of character to me. So yeah, her and Bill's plan essentially is to grab this energy, this quantum energy from where Janet is, and this could screw up the plan of the main cast to go and get Janet. So obviously now here's our opposing forces. So Pym refuses to help, says he's not going to help them get to the quantum realm and steal that energy, and he escapes with the crew. He escapes using an explosion and ants. that were in the Altoids tin. So who knew inside the Altoids tin was just a bunch of little ants waiting to spring out and turn into big ants.
Yeah. Who knew? He's probably got ants like
in his pants.
The stitches. Probably. I mean, why not?
This is a guy who will have ants in his pants.
Yeah, and his glasses are probably made of ants. We just can't tell. They've solidified, and then they can break free whenever they want.
They improve your vision. Micro contact lenses that are ants. That's where I ended my Act 1, was right there when they escape from Ghost Lab. Ghost Lab.
I actually... You know what? Okay, I didn't mention it because I wanted to see where you would end yours, but I actually ended my Act 1 a little bit earlier. I ended it at... just after Ghost goes to recharge. So it's just before they meet up with Morpheus.
I just ended here because this is where the villain was revealed, so it's like now priority shifted to kind of thing. So I was like, okay, Act Ender. But yeah, that's okay. We're at pretty much the same spot.
You know what? Okay, I tried to go with the same kind of concept, like after meeting the villain. And so yeah, you're taking it as it's Bill, and my act kind of ends as if it's the ghost is the villain. And I was actually thinking as we were talking about this first act that the reason why I'm also not very interested in this movie is because the villain.
Yeah.
Like, the villain to me is not, like, singly anything that seems very detrimental to, like, the protagonist. You know? Like, they're kind of in the way to an extent because they're just trying to use the same technology to save somebody else. But it's for... I guess it's because it's for a good purpose, but they're not anybody who are, like... who did the guy Richie play? So like the Mandarin in Iron Man 3.
I am the Mandarin.
I'm the Tangerine. Like he wants to, he basically wants to have like the same kind of technology, but use it like he's kind of a crazy guy and wants to use it in like this like very maniacal ways. But these are just kind of people who are trying to do it. They're trying to help themselves. They're trying to just do some good things, and they're really not. They're just not the villain kind of. Persona that I think we need to be clashing with the good guys, with the good peeps. So yeah,
I agree.
Anyway,
it's like a Saturday morning cartoon villain, you know. It's like a weak Saturday morning cartoon villain. Kind of go like, oh, they were also affected by the Allspark or the mystery goo or like the radioactive waste or like
or Flashpoint or exactly. Yeah.
Okay, my Act 2 is called Changing Priorities.
Mine is you can't handle the truth. It's mainly revolving around the whole truth serum thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I get it.
Yeah.
Is that truth serum?
Yeah. It's not. There's no such thing. Oh, there's no such thing. His voice.
Yeah. Okay, we got a little scene here. I'll play Cassie. You play Scott Lang.
All right.
Trying to help people isn't dumb.
Well, I screw it up just about every time.
So maybe you just need someone watching your back. Like a partner.
Well, she's made it clear that's about the last thing she wants.
Who?
Hope. Wait, who did you think?
Me.
You?
Don't laugh. I'd be a great partner.
Aw, Peanut. Aw, you would be awesome. And if I let you, I would be a terrible dad.
Their scenes are really good, and it makes me have hope. Hope. It makes me have hope for the future of these movies. I would like to see more of a team up, not with him and the Wasp, but more him and Cassie. I think that would actually be a really compelling and interesting movie. A father-daughter team up would be really interesting, I think.
Ant-Man and the even smaller Ant.
Ant-Man and Ant-Daughter.
Yeah. What's something that would be Ant-Man and the Atom or the Cell? I don't know. What you have to find something that's like significantly smaller than an ant.
Ant-Man and the Flea.
Sure. Okay. Yeah. Ant-Man and the Tick.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. The Tick.
Yeah.
Arthur.
Spoon.
All right. Anyways, so the crew access the quantum realm. What did I say? Oh, again.
The crew access the quantum real.
Yeah,
the quantum is real.
What am I trying to say here? So the main crew here, they access the quantum realm, and this is where we get into the moments with Paul Rudd getting to play as Michelle Pfeiffer. And I think it's kind of funny here. I think Paul Rudd does a pretty good job. It's like a comedic version of like the Janet character, but it's also convincing in a weird way. Like it does convince me.
It does,
but it's comedic on purpose, so it's forced, but it's also convincing. Like, it's weird.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's convincing because like he's okay. Sure, Paul Rudd. It's a guy that is trying to move and act like a woman, and it's exaggerated, but at the same time, like we don't know what Michelle Pfeiffer, like Janet's character, like we haven't seen her on screen enough to know like okay how does she move, what are her twitches and quirks and what's her body language and stuff, right? So he's just giving us something, and it's a bit, I'd say it's a little bit exaggerated, but I think because I feel like it's mostly in his facial, like in his facial reaction when he looks at them and he strokes their faces, like his
eyebrows go right up and stuff, and he has very animated face.
Yeah, they're animated, but they're not too animated. Like to me, they're still like, it's not like it's Paul Rudd trying to put it over the top. Like it's brought down enough that like okay, and I like it. I think it's funny and a little bit endearing at the same time.
For sure,
like
the dialogue really helps. The way like his lines in general are really good lines as her, and then his delivery is spot on as well. So I think that really helps the scene. The way he like turns and looks at Hope, and he like is like proud of her, and you can like see it. I don't know. It is well done. It's not like a tear-jerking moment or anything, but it is a good scene though. So I like all that. They all work together. They're holding hands. They did it. The whole quantum tunnel is rebuilt, and it's got the part in it, and they are off on their way to go find Janet. Damn it, Janet. And then Sonny heads over to Scott's business with his business associates, and he confronts them. And this is where we get the truth serum scene. Yeah, Sonny sits down with them, and he says all like, "Hey, is that truth serum?" And then, what is he asking him? He's asking him if he knows the location of Ant-Man.
Or is the part?
Or I guess it's where the lab is. He's asking for the location.
Where the lab
of the
is, yeah, that's right.
And it just so happens that Louise actually does know where the location of the lab is because Scott had just talked to him on the phone. Unfortunately, Louise then tells him in a Louise-like way, which is, it's played off a little bit more funny. These guys are about the same comedic levels where they were last time. I'd say good, not great. Like, like entertaining. I'll watch them, but they're just not like jumping off the screen at me or anything like that.
Yeah,
and Korg levels of funny.
No, not at all. And I think it's because like we get them a lot. I think we get them a lot less in this one. And so when we see them, it's only about comedy.
Yes,
but it'd be nicer if we had them in moments where they're put in kind of more of a dangerous situation.
Yes,
and so we can let them be real a little bit, and then contrast that with their comedic moments, and then that balance or that contrast is what's going to help us enjoy it a bit more. Yeah.
I'll admit, I do like the Baba Yaga.
The Baba Yaga thing is, I like that. Yeah.
It's and later on they're talking, then he's like, "Oh, like Baba Yaga." I just like that. He gets so intense about it.
And then he starts like reciting the whole Baba Yaga poem as soon as the ghost kind of appears.
I also just kind of like that it has nothing to do with the story. It's like typically in a movie, that's when the camera starts panning in slowly, and he's actually revealing like the exposition of like the background of the enemy or something like that. But this is like not actually that. It's him just like having fun with this one little random line. So I do like that. So Scott is then telling Hank and Hope, unfortunately, that they're going to have to escape quickly because Louise has then given the location off to Sonny and Cher, and they're heading over there to take the lab. So obviously Hank and Hope are pretty pissed off about this, and Scott also he's been tipped off, or the FBI at least have been tipped off that Scott is away from his house. So he has to now go home. So he says, "You guys have to leave. You have to pack up your lab, and I have to leave you." Which is the worst because they just found Janet. So this is like I don't know how you could be Hank and Hope and not be mad at Scott. Like this is like this would be so frustrating if you were the other characters in the scene.
And it just, I guess like it's weird that, I don't know if it's weird, but maybe it just seems a bit much that how many times does he have to try to make it back in this movie? Like 3 times?
3 separate times, he comes back, I believe.
3 separate times.
I think so,
I don't know. Like the whole anticipation of like, oh, is he gonna get back in time? Like going through that 3 times, I think is a bit much. Yeah. So he's already gone this far. He's out with the crew. Like you might as well keep going at this point. Like what are the FBI gonna do? Like they can't really stop you at this point.
They can't stop him, but they can extend his house arrest, when he's done.
But no, but that's what I mean. Like, can they even okay? He's got the capabilities. He's got the suit. He's got the crew.
I guess that's true. He just keep escaping. Yeah, but then he'd be an escaped convict, right? He wants to do the right thing and be on the straight and narrow.
I know, but then that struggle is then he should have just stayed at home. So I guess like, this whole what we're discussing now, like that struggle.
We're discussing
the struggle
between ethics is what we're discussing,
right? Well, and I feel like we are discussing it more than the movie has shown it to be a struggle.
I agree. It doesn't define a moral code for Scott. We don't know his morals in this movie. We knew them a lot better in the first one. In this one, we don't know them as well.
Yeah, seemingly. Anyway,
yeah,
so.
It's almost as if using the power is wrong. The powers of the suit is wrong, right? So it's like he's punished if he's seen using the powers of the suit. So he has to do it in secret and save the world, and then come back and just be the regular dad that everybody loves and not get caught doing it. Which totally like laughs in the face of the idea of like superheroes being superheroes, right?
Yeah,
it does.
It's kind of like the unwitting vigilante.
Yes, it does actually work with his Secret Avengers team, though, right? If he's still on Team Cap, it does actually still work in that. They have to work in the shadows, even though the government doesn't want them around. So it still kind of lines up with that, but it is off. It's weird.
Yeah.
So Scott then rushes back home. I'm surprised we didn't get a Spider-Man-esque Ferris Bueller's Day Off kind of moment where he's running through the backyard. Trying to like get to the house, but luckily he did. He got home, and Jimmy Woo does not catch him. Scott kind of looks up from his drummer. Oh, hey, what's up? What's up? Actually,
the drummer one.
No, this is the other one.
I thought this was the puke one.
This is the puke one. You're right, actually. Yeah,
this is the puke one.
He's really sick.
Yeah,
I like
There's
that.
Like a lot of puke, like a lot.
Yeah, Jimmy's just, I don't know. Jimmy is over the top, exaggerated, not realistic at all, and yet I still kind of like him. I still kind of like him on screen.
I like him. I like him too. I guess
in bits. In bits.
There. I think. Okay, if it were anybody else, I don't know if I could stand those lines in the delivery, but I think it's because we know him, like, not personally, but
You're probably right.
We're used to seeing him on screen, right? We know.
Kind of soft spot
his
for Jimmy Woo, He's just a good character.
Woo, Jimmy Woo.
Woo, Jimmy Woo. Good job, Jimmy Woo. You won my heart over. Anyways, so while Lang is doing this, Hank and Hope are getting captured by the FBI. I didn't actually mention the fact that when they leave the lab, they shrink it down, and he carries it like airport luggage. Which I gotta admit, this is one of those conceptual things. Conceptually, this is really, really fun, and I like it.
Yeah.
But realistically, this makes zero sense at all. I don't understand how the building is created so that the luggage things go down into the structural integrity of the building. I don't understand how the building must have wheels. Like, apparently, I don't understand a lot about it. But at the same time, sure, it also would weigh a lot more than regular luggage because it would be built at a different material than luggage is built out of. So there's a lot of things I don't get about it, but still conceptually, it's fun.
Very true. There are so many things that we could ask about that, and I'm sure those would apply to every other single situation that we see these powers.
Yeah, I've also heard that ants and spiders can't be as large as like we put them in fantasy, like the ants that are like large here, just because the way they're built. Apparently, they would like crush under the weight of gravity or something, or they wouldn't be able to breathe correctly the way that they breathe. I don't actually know the science behind it, but we need is it entomologist or etymologist? Entomologist, yeah. We need an entomologist to come on here and explain to us why ants can't be the size of that they are in this movie, and it wouldn't work in real life.
I wonder if there's a YouTube video where an entomologist reviews the whole movie.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
Just dissects it piece by piece.
Ooh,
like, no, this would not happen. No, this would not happen.
Well done. Anyway, so yes, Hank and Hope are captured by the FBI. They are now in like a crowded forest kind of thing, and they decide to shrink down the building. When they do, they're actually surrounded by the FBI at gunpoint. I guess it's not hard to find them when it's just a giant building out in the forest somewhere that they were going to go into their lab. It was a weird scene. While they're doing this, Sonny ends up stealing the lab. So...
right. Wait, does he? Yes, he does.
Yeah, so Sonny now has possession of the lab. Hank and Hope are captured by the FBI. They go to prison. And Scott...
the Ghost steals the lab.
Oh, I was going by... Oh, is it Ghost?
Yeah, she just walks in the like.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
So because like the cop is like a crooked cop that's working for Sonny, and he's the one who kind of gets them all there. But then the ghost actually is the one who goes to the back of the.
I write these these notes like when I'm like thinking about the movie after I watched it. But yeah, you're totally in my mind. It was totally the Sonny guy swoops in and like grabs the case, but no, it's Ghost. No, you're right. Okay. So Scott now is grappling with his emotions and he's wondering should he go in and should he break out Hank and Hope? Is that the right thing to do?
Should he be a good grandma? And how can he be a good grandma?
Exactly. What do the best grandmas do in situations like this?
They bake pies.
They do. Yeah.
They feed you. That's what they do. They feed you.
Yes. So Scott talks to Cassie, and then in the scene that we already showed, she convinces him that that he should go and help them. That would be the right thing to do. And she also calls him the world's best grandma.
Yeah. I would.
Yep. So Scott decides to go and break out Hank and Hope from jail, which is an ironic twist from the first movie, where he was being broken out of jail from Hank. Now he's the one breaking them out of jail in a very similar way. He's got the ants that are covering up the video camera. He gives them a disguise suit, you know. Hank is kind of looking a little bit like Stan Lee here, a little bit. He's got like a cameo suit on, and it's like walking out like that. What is Hope's disguise? Is she also an FBI agent? I guess she is.
What, wasn't she given the suit? She was given the suit so
that you're right. Yep, you're right. Yeah. So it's only Hank that's given the FBI suit, and then she's given like the regular suit.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then they escape out of jail, and good job them.
Out of Yale.
That is the end of Act 2 for me.
Well, me too. Whoa, we landed on the right spot.
I fixed it.
Fancy that. See that.
Fant is a drink. So Act 3, I called The Return of the Wasp.
Nice. I called mine, Do You Believe in Magic?
Do you believe in magic of a young girl's heart?
Something Baba Yaga.
Don't get me started, magic.
So each of my act titles, I think I just felt like each act was just some sort of, it just felt like a quote.
Oh yeah.
Like come out where, like everything is like a catchphrase or a quote or something. So yeah, that's kind of the theme for my act titles. Not like it really has anything to do with what we're talking about in the movie, but just wanted to explain a little bit.
No worries.
About my thought process.
Mine, I think I thought up in like 2 seconds because this movie I didn't want to put too much effort into this movie. Okay, we got a little scene here. I'll play Jimmy Woo. You play Scotty Lang.
Okay.
You got away with it this time, Scott, but I'll be seeing you again.
Where?
Huh?
Where will you be seeing me again?
Like, in general, I'll see. Like the next time you do something bad, I'll be there.
Oh.
To catch you.
You'll be watching and...
Yeah.
I thought you were inviting me somewhere.
Why would I do that?
Well, that's what I was wondering. Why would you do that?
Like a party or a dinner or something?
I don't know. I thought you were...
No, I meant...
Planning the evening and...
No, I meant to, like, arrest you.
No, that'd be a little strange.
Like, I'll arrest you later, again.
Take it easy.
Okay. Did you want to grab dinner or something? Because I'm free.
So this scene is way too long. Like it is way overplayed in the thing. But again, I've got a soft spot for my guy Jimmy Woo.
Yeah,
so.
I enjoyed it.
So
it is too long, but I enjoyed it. Yeah, me too.
You know what this should have been? AntMan and Jimmy Woo. This would have
been
a much more funny like road cop movie where one is like the straight and narrow cop who has to do everything by the book, and the other one is AntMan.
Yeah, I would totally watch that.
That would have been really funny, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting back into it, blah, blah, blah. So they steal the lab back from Sunny, but they must steal the lab back from Ghost.
Yeah. So because...
refresh my memory on how they do this.
Okay, so they have a plan. First of all, Ghost has she's in the lab with Morpheus.
Right.
So they're in there trying to like put together all of their gear and enter the Matrix.
Right. I remember that. She's being a lot more harsh at that moment, and he's kind of telling her to calm down and don't kill anybody, don't do anything rash.
Yeah, she doesn't want to wait, blah blah blah. And then, yeah.
There's no time. There's no time now.
Yeah. Don't talk to me about pain. I am pain.
I am the anticipant of pain. So Scott
I was born in the pain.
You merely adopted the pain. I was born
in it.
Scott and Hope distract Ghost while Hank enters into the quantum realm to go find his wife. In a cute little scene where he goes down in his little
20,000
Leagues Under the Sea kind of ship
It's
to go
like
find his wife.
What's the Red Dwarf? No, it's the. I forgot. Did you watch Red Dwarf? You didn't, right?
No.
Okay. They're in a little thing that looks like the green little bug spaceship from Red Dwarf. Green. Spaceship.
I typed in green bug spaceship Red Dwarf.
Red
Oh, I see
Dwarf.
it. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. It looks kind of similar to that. Yeah. I can see, that looks like it's right out of AntMan.
Starbug. That's what it's called. Starbug.
Starbug.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it's a great show.
one on every corner. So Hank enters the quantum realm. Ghost starts taking energy away from the quantum realm, and this is like kind of going to affect Hank and Janet as they try to leave the quantum realm, because Ghost is trying to harness that energy. She's trying to stabilize her pain. She's in so much pain.
Stop the pain.
As she's doing this, Skite and Hope, they fight off Sonny and Cher.
It's a defying duo. It's
Yes.
very, very difficult.
This is the famous Pez dispenser car chase scene that you were talking
Yeah.
about. So we get to the car chase scene. Scott and Hope have to do a bunch of fighting. A lot of CGI stuff going on here. Making some cars shrink, dodging stuff, making some cars enlarge, dodging stuff. You know?
Yeah.
It's fun.
And then
It's a
some-
wacky, wild ride.
There's some phasing.
There's some
There's,
phasing.
jumping in and out of cars, going through some windows, going through some doors,
Yeah.
going through, I don't know what else there is, going through people. I actually did kind of like, I mean, aside from the fact that, yeah, it's still kind of unexplained how she's able to, like, whether, like, how much in control she is of the phasing, but I like the moments where she actually does go through the cars. Like,
Right.
there's one where she kind of does this acrobatic, or like a gymnast kind of thing, where she, I don't know what that sport is, but with the horizontal bars, no, the uneven bars, you know, the gymnastic event, uneven bars,
Right.
where
Okay.
yeah, where you like, you're basically you're spinning around the bar, like you have your hands on it and you're just like spinning around it, and then you jump from bar to bar.
Oh yeah. Is this the one that has the lower bar and then the higher bar?
Yeah,
You
I'm
spin
pretty
from
sure
one
it's
to
called
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
uneven
I just
bars.
watched that one. Yeah. There's some crazy stuff those gymnasts can do.
Oh,
with
it's
that.
amazing. Yeah.
It's nuts.
There's one move that I think is banned because somebody did it back in like the 60s or 70s, and she's really good at it. But I think anyway. So the whole uneven bars thing, yeah. So Ghost does something like that to go into the van, which I think is kind of cool. It's not like an overdone trick or move, but it looks like that looks like something that is very. It's like a very smooth transition for her to get in there and to like continue fighting and stuff. So
Right.
I think they utilize these moments with her phasing a bit better than they did earlier. At least it's a bit more. To me, it looks like they're having a bit more fun with how they're using it. But again, like what takes away from the fact is, or for me, for enjoying it completely, is that we don't know how much in control she is of the
Yeah,
phasing.
she seems to have a lot of control in this scene. I'm just rewatching the scene to familiarize myself a little bit with this, and she seems to have a lot of control. She's carrying like the lab in her hands, and she's trying to keep that, but she's also phasing in and out of things. So she's like using her technology to phase that. You know, there's a scene where she steals a flatbed truck, and she starts driving away with the lab in her hands and that. Then Hope goes into fighters. She's fighting off Hope in a flatbed truck. Ant-Man turns into Giant Man and starts trying to stop the truck, and then she's phasing in and out and doing all this crazy stuff. And it's like, man, I don't know, man. I think she's got a pretty good handle on the powers of this thing. Like,
Yeah.
she seems to know what she's doing.
Maybe it depends on how much she's had time to like recharge in her
Yeah.
Casper mattress. I guess it just like, she needs some time.
True.
That's all she
True.
needs.
I will also say that the effects for her are weird. I think that it was something they were trying because it was like a dragging effect or a trails kind of effect with her body, as it's like a bunch of her bodies all put together. But I don't know what it is, but it comes off. It looks weird. Like, it looks cheesy, even though it's not a cheesy effect. Like, I'm sure they have some very expensive After Effects kind of preset used for it, but for some reason it comes off as cheesy. It looks weird to me.
Yeah, I think it's a little bit jarring because they, like, sometimes it's almost really evident that it's kind of just like an echo effect. Like, it's it's the same thing that she's done, but they've just transposed it a couple seconds before, a couple seconds after, and a bit of both at the same time. And so sometimes it's like it's easy to watch her because you can focus on her, and then other times it's kind of like, well, what am I looking at? Like, it's kind of trippy.
Yeah, I'm sure they were trying to go for this, but it would have been better, I think, if all these separate entities of her were different, like parallel universes of her taking different choices or doing different things slightly.
Oh, that'd be cool.
No, it doesn't have to be like a lot. And spoilers for WandaVision, but there is a scene in WandaVision that does a similar concept recently, where like a character is trying to pass through a force field. And there's 4 versions of that character in the force field.
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be that exaggerated, but something similar to that I think would have been a bit more interesting. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, it might have even been a bit more interesting if the villain actually had a good side that we only saw in some of its echoed effects. And some of the characters were actually having conversations with that good side, trying to convince them to stay in that reality. But they were being split apart by these 2 different ones, right?
Yeah.
That could have been interesting, too. But anyways, that's just random ideas from Mattbrush as we go through this.
Okay, also, so that scene where Ant-Man goes Giant Man, and he punches through the shield and punches Ghost, like, right in the face.
Yeah.
And, like, breaks her helmet or like, whatever, her face shield.
Yeah.
Like... I feel like that punch should have just completely killed her.
I know.
But then she's kind of like, she's knocked out for like 2 seconds. And then she's completely back to normal right after.
Yeah.
It just seems like, we must have missed like 20 minutes in between those 2 cuts. Like, I don't know, it's just weird.
She went to the hospital, she got fixed up, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
She had a sensu bean.
Morpheus gave her the red pill. I don't know.
Right.
Like it's,
Yeah. So after the car chase scene, we now have, Scott steals the lab and he enlarges it as Sonny's crew is apprehended by Scott's associates, his business associates. They've actually successfully captured Sonny and his men, which is, showing.
what are they called? They're called ex-cons, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah,
ex-cons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they use their like zapping tasers and they hit Sonny and his guys. So they did their job well. Scott, shoots up the lab and they all go inside of it. This is just in time for Hank and Janet to reemerge from the quantum tunnel. I don't totally understand, but I think if Hank and Janet were to reemerge while it was small, that wouldn't have worked. So it was supposed to be big when they reemerged from the micro tunnel or quantum tunnel.
What do you mean? Like, as in, if they stayed
if the
small,
lab, if the lab was shrunk down, like the quantum tunnel is also shrunk down. So I think while Hank and Janet were trying to reemerge from the quantum tunnel, they had no idea it was shrunk, and I think it was supposed to be enlarged at the time. So Scott like enlarged it just in time for when that was happening, right? So
right.
Yeah. I don't totally understand that. I'm sure they explained it at some point, but I found this movie quite confusing sometimes. They're trying to follow the logic. So anyways, they made it just in time. They reemerge, and there is a brief family reunion moment, very brief, before Ghost intervenes. Dun dun dun.
Mm-hmm.
And there is again kind of a brief fight scene between Ghost and Scott and Hope fighting each other. Go ahead.
Which I was just gonna say, which I find kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
It's we're at the end of the movie, and it'd be nice. Like, I guess we've had them kind of fight against her several times now, and it's not really a matter
they can't
of
win.
Yeah, well, it doesn't seem like a matter of like who is becoming better in order to surpass the other. It's like they both stay the exact same throughout the whole movie.
Right.
The only difference is like who's drawing out more time. Right? Are they drawing out more time so that they can save Janet, or is she drawing out or so that Ghost can't like regenerate? I don't know. Like, it's really just a movie about like wasting time or using your time to their advantage, as opposed to just getting better as characters.
And to make the fight scene even worse, it is finished not by somebody getting hurt or like by some crazy climax. It's by Janet just kind of walking up to her and just stabilizing her. It's kind of dumb because it's like, oh, did you know that like you didn't need to do anything if you just helped Janet escape? That she could have healed you so much earlier. Like, all of this is completely pointless. And no one points that out either. That's the thing. She doesn't learn from this. She just kind of gets healed and is like, oh, okay, cool, and now we're all friends.
Like, yeah, exactly. They're like, oh, we have to escape all together now.
Yeah. There was no learning curve for the Ghost character at all. So how can we even care about her as a character if we don't even see her grow and, like, progress through the story?
Yeah.
So.
This is also, when she heals her, this is where I got my inspiration for my act title, Do You Believe in Magic? Because what is even happening?
What is quantum energy?
Yeah.
Apparently it's the heal-all for everything. And also this is the part of the movie that kind of doesn't really make much sense to me. They all just kind of like run away and go into hiding. And the Ghost and the other dude, Jack Dorsey, what's his name? Not Jack Dorsey. It's
Bill Cosby?
Bill Foster.
Yeah.
There's a weird scene where she's like trying to escape, and she's like, "Thank you for all you've done for me." And he's like, "Oh no, I'm coming with you." And she's like, "Wait, no, it's okay. Like I got this from here on." He's like, "No, I want to come with you." And like I swear, she's like, "No, I'm good."
No,
like,
really, I just
and he's
don't.
like, "No, I got nothing going on. I might as well." She's like, "Oh, damn it!" Like, it's such an awkward scene. It's like, "All right, Bill, have a good one."
As awkward as a father and daughter would be in real life when the daughter's trying to leave the father. Yeah,
probably
sounds about right.
Scott returns home. He gets. Oh yeah, there's a brief scene here where they're escaping. Scott uses the giant man suit to distract them.
It's sleight of hand. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
but it's like I don't know. This could have been done better. This was lazy to me. It was lazy and dumb. It's just like, "Come out of there, Scott!" Like it's like. Why would he be
And then
Giant
he runs
Man?
away in his underwear on the street.
Yeah. Why would Giant Man be hiding behind a building looking like that? That's not hiding. Like, it just is dumb. It makes everyone look foolish.
Yeah, very foolish. And it's just... I guess it's just not... It's a very unnecessary way to distract. Like, they're just... It seems like it's being done strictly for the whole, like, how can we do a sleight of hand thing? But
yes.
Yeah, that's all.
Would have been funnier if it was something that was actually sleight of hand in a subtle way with like just his hands. Maybe it has nothing to do with the suit at all. And when Jimmy's like, "How'd you do that?" Or like Jimmy's like, "What's going on?" Scott's all like, "Sleight of hand." And then instead of Jimmy wanting to arrest him, Jimmy's like, "So you gotta tell me, how'd you do that?" And like is more interested in the trick. I think that'd be better, Like, anyways. Scott arrives home just before Jimmy Woo breaks in, and guess what? Scott got off again. No one caught him.
Now he's playing drums.
We go through the scene that we already had, which, as we talked about, it's funny. It just goes on a little bit too long, but it's Jimmy Woo, so, boo-hoo. Scott reunites with his family. His family is, like, on some kind of weird drugs in this movie because they're so happy. Like, way too happy. Everyone's like, "Oh, my God, Scott!" And they're all hugging him, like, and it's like... They're just so happy for him. It's like he died in the last movie. And this is all just, like, heaven.
And they almost just, like, hated him in the first movie.
Yeah.
For all that he did. Yeah.
Everyone's flipped 180 in this movie. It's so weird.
Yeah. A lot has changed in between the movies.
Yeah. And also, I like this scene better where Hank enlarges a family home for him and Janet on a secluded beach somewhere. I think it's nice. And again, is like the conceptually interesting part of Ant-Man. It's like, how would you live life if you had these powers? And this is one of the cool things he's able to do. So I like that.
Mm-hmm. I like it too. I think that it's like it's a more, I guess, could you say practical? I mean, like, sure, it's a practical way. It's a practical use that we get to see. But it also just, like, it makes sense to have that kind of practicality because they are still just people.
Yeah.
And there's kind of, like, there's less explanation needed for it. Whereas, when you go back to the whole lab thing, like, wait, how does this work? Because of all the other, right? So, yeah.
We have two after credit scenes. The first one is Thanos related. Scott goes into the quantum realm to harness energy for Ghost. He says, "This is for our ghost friend." And he harnesses some magical quantum energy. The healing juice. And then as he's
Mike's secret stuff.
As he's stuck down there. That's a nice Space Jam reference.
Thank you.
He's stuck down there, Hope, Janet, and Hank are snapped out of existence from Thanos' snippety snap. This scene is interesting. It's chilling, and it has a totally different mood to it than like the other scenes in the movie. Like this is actually
the rest of the movie. Really,
this is like the movie I was expecting to see was like something like this, and man, it's interesting to me, and it makes me really wish. Now you can tell me if you think this is wrong, but it makes me think that this movie should have come out before Infinity War, including this scene, and when it happens, I don't think it's a spoiler. I think a lot of people would have been confused.
Yeah.
They would have had theories, for sure. They would have had crazy theories. But they would also be like, there's no way the Marvel movies are going to go that far and actually have Thanos, like, remove people out of existence. But what it would do is it would make people think that it's possible that everyone on Earth got snapped out of existence. Not half, but everyone. But Scott was in the quantum realm, so maybe he wasn't affected, right? So everyone's wondering what's going on. And that's even if you know about the Thanos stuff. If you don't know about the Thanos stuff, you're just kind of left with this huge question mark of what does it mean. Then after watching Infinity War, you would instantly go, oh my god, that's what it means. And it means that there are other people still alive and maybe he can get out. You know, it'd be a way better way of doing it than this way. This way is kind of like, oh yeah, this movie is a part of the MCU. Like,
yeah, I agree. I would have liked it to take place before Infinity War, and I wonder also like with the timing of like had this come out before Infinity War, knowing that Scott was in there. I mean, not that it takes up more time in the movie universe, but in our time, like as the audience realizing, oh, he's been in the quantum realm since this point in our lives, before Infinity War comes out, and then he comes back. It kind of feels like, wow, he's actually been in there for like a really long time, and I almost feel like that could kind of work to Scott's advantage, just kind of like us thinking about him as this pivotal character who not all of a sudden, but comes back in the Endgame with with the knowledge that he does have.
Yeah.
And I was also thinking with the whole, I guess like spoiling whether you know it or not, like what Thanos does. Like, I think, I feel like you could kind of argue it either way. That no matter what you could argue with this movie being before or after. Oh, sorry. No, I'm thinking of in terms of like why he's not involved with what's happening with Thanos and everybody, because you could argue saying like, well, it doesn't make sense that when Thanos is invading Earth, that people like in the Ant-Man movie don't even realize it's happening, but I think you could that could go the other way around too, that like, well, what does it matter if they notice it, whether the movie comes before or after Infinity War, right? So but I think overall, yeah, you could kind of also explain it like the post credits. It's not necessarily always immediately after what happens in the movie, so there could be kind of like a time skip. So
true.
Ant-Man and the Wasp happens. We see the post credit. The post credit just happens to take place after Infinity War, but we don't know that. It's pieced together after we watch Infinity War.
Exactly.
So, yeah. So I think it makes way more sense if we had gotten it before Infinity War. Yeah.
Cool. The second after credit scene is an ant drumming.
And that's it. And this is probably
literally all it is.
I wanted to mention, I'm going to send this to you. So because I wanted to look up, I actually wanted to find out which ant this was, like the name. I didn't find it because I got sidetracked by this video that I just sent you on Facebook. And it's Ant-Man and the Wasp. Ant drums for 1 hour. It's just this scene, like it's
my gosh.
The 4 seconds of the ant playing the drums looped for an hour.
No way. It seems like such a troll. It's like a troll scene. Like, it's not even like...
well, once in a while they do that, with the whole Captain America...
That's true. Some things just aren't worth waiting for.
Yeah, exactly.
That thing drumming for an hour, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. You know what would have been a better after-credit scene? Wow, I can't believe it is. It is just that for an hour. Wow. What would have been a better after-credit scene is Michael Douglas and Paul Rudd doing their little... Ants!
Oh yeah!
Ant-Man! That is, for some reason, so much funnier than any of these other scenes.
But if they were doing it, like, each on their own drum kit?
Oh, yeah. Ants!
Yeah.
Ant-Man!
Yeah.
And then he could have had, like, what's-her-face come in and, like, hit the crash. And be like, shh! And the Wasp! And they're like, cut.
Yeah.
It's like making some kind of crazy jazz. It would have been nice.
I think, that would have been fun.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anth0z, now that we're done, who was your least favorite character in this whole film?
All of them. I think it's probably...
Done. That's a wrap.
Yeah. I kind of want to say Ava. She annoyed me.
Ava.
I think it would be her. I don't know. Probably.
I kind of agree with you. Ghost is pretty bad. I will just say Billy Bob Thornton, whatever his name was. I can't even remember his name.
Yeah, what is his name?
Bill Foster.
He's from... Oh, Billy Bob Thornton. Oh, sorry. I thought you meant...
Sonny?
The Sonny, because he kind of looks...
No, you're right. No, Sonny's also not that great. But no, Bill Foster is just kind of more motivation, man. It's not that he's... like acting bad or anything like that. Lawrence Fishburne's a good actor. It's just this is not a good role. Like,
no,
they needed to write the character with way more motivation to make him a better character. He's also technically a villain, and I don't know anything about him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Anth0z, who's your favorite character in this whole entire film?
Do I have to? Who's in this movie? Cassie.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Good choice.
Yeah.
Wow, I agree.
She's good. She's grounded. She motivates what's his face. She motivates her dad, Scott.
She's realistic. She's funny.
Realistic. Yeah.
She has no bad scenes. As far as I can tell, she has no bad scenes.
No, she does all her stuff very well.
Solid performance.
Yeah,
you know what?
Like a lot of puke.
I totally agree with you though. She is a very good character in this film. I'm gonna go with oh my gosh, Hank Pym. I think.
Okay.
I think I actually went with him with the first Ant-Man too. I might have gone with Scott, but Hank in this movie, he's not like always great. He's definitely got some misses. But when it comes to understanding the character, I understand his motivations more than any of the other characters in this film. Like, he seems like he knows what he wants and he's trying to get that thing from the very beginning at the prequel scene all the way to the very end with him in the house and his wife. You can just tell he got what he wanted, full arc, closing story, done. Hank Pym had a good old movie there. He's pretty much like Office Interview, you know, and he's all like, I don't know what those other fools were doing, but I got my wife back, you know, like.
Yeah. I wonder that could have been funny if there was just like this whole very underlying kind of like subplot thing where he just has his own agenda.
If he just did all this stuff and none of the other stuff was connected to his storyline in this whole movie.
I think that probably could have been a little bit more like there's some mystery there.
Yeah.
And then it kind of like it leads
Whatever
you to
he
kind
gets
of
up
wonder. Yeah, and like that almost kind of like I would be curious to know like how would that affect like any movie coming afterwards. Right? Like
And at the end of the film, Paul Rudd would have been like, "Where you been, man?
Yeah.
what were you doing?"
Yeah.
Anth0z, how does this movie rate as a piece of a bigger picture, like how comics are pieces of arcs?
Well, geez, like a
Jeez Louise.
like a 4? I don't know.
Out of 100?
No, out of 10. But yeah, it's
No, I agree.
like other than the post-credit scene, like the first post-credit scene, there isn't really much that would. I mean, you can force things to relate outside of the movies, or outside of this movie, and yeah, like you automatically relate it to what precedes it. So the what's her face, like her. Like so the Wasp not having her own suit now, or not having her own suit before and having it now. Like obviously those are like the automatic connections, but otherwise like everything else.
He's
is
also
like
on house arrest because of Civil War. Like the whole reason he's under house arrest is because of Civil War. So at the very beginning,
yeah, that's true.
They loop it to Civil War at the very beginning, but they don't really go into the other heroes or anything like that all that much, except for when he makes the Captain America joke and he calls him Cap. She's like, Cap? He's like, yeah. Cap. Captain America, Cap.
Yeah, that's what we call him. And then there's the whole like the flashback scene. I mean, like, I think flashback scenes can be obvious ways of where he would connect to other story arcs, but because it's more of a flashback because it is a flashback, that is just needed to. It's a device that's needed to explain what's going to happen in this movie, as opposed to something that already is taking place in a separate arc.
Yeah.
Maybe it was like in a previous arc. I'm sure it was, but like comic book arc. But I don't know. It just, to me, they aren't the things that you would connect. Not automatically aren't established enough for me to feel like they would be usable for other arcs. If that makes sense.
That does make sense. Thank you, Anth0z. Thank you so much for this incredible podcast about Ant-Man and the Wasp. Honestly, it feels like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders. I don't have to watch this movie again. I am dreading, though, dear listener, I am dreading our next movie, which is Captain Marvel. I will admit. But
just think about when you finish it, what that means.
Oh, I know. I'm so excited.
Yes, me too.
But, yeah, so our next film is Captain Marvel. Thank you so much for listening to this podcast. Catch our next one, Captain Marvel. But I'm intrigued by this one because I've never fully seen it, which is the first Marvel movie I've never seen all the way through. So this is going to be quite
Captain
interesting.
Marvel? Oh, that's right. Yeah, you did talk about that before.
I turned it off halfway through because I was really, really just not liking the movie.
Yeah.
But I'm interested. Now that we've got this whole thing leading up to this, maybe I'll have a whole change of heart. I promise I'm going to go in blind. I'm going to go in with the best peace of mind I can and see if I enjoy this movie.
If it helps, I already can picture the scenes that I don't like.
Good. I know that WandaVision also kind of ties into this movie a little bit. Spoilers. But
oh, that's right. Yep.
So that will be something that maybe I'll have a Jimmy Woo effect in Captain Marvel as well. So I now call that the Jimmy Woo effect.
The Jimmy Woo effect. Yeah. The JWE.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Yeah. Thank you so much for listening to our podcast. Catch our next one, Captain Marvel, and we appreciate you.
You, all of you.
Olives too.
All MCU.
Buzz, 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 buzz. Buzz,
Buzz, buzz.
Bye.
Bye.